The following program is a public service of Gulf Coast State College, WKGC, and Commodore Productions. And now, the Military Hour with Carrie Dieter.
Welcome to another edition of Military Hour. We have returning guests this morning and a new guest. And first, if you don't mind, I'm going to introduce Ann Dent, who is an elder with Grace Presbyterian Church, who is hosting this upcoming Warrior Beach Retreat. Now, without further ado, we'll go to Linda Cope, who is the founder of Warrior Beach Retreat. And Johnathan, tell us about, you're the executive assistant, is that right? Did I mess it up again?
You're right, first executive assistant / counselor.
/counselor. Well, okay. Yeah. Counselors should not slash people, but we'll leave that where it's at. And who's going to start? How did you two get together to coalesce and put this one on?
Well, I gave Grace Presbyterian Church a call this summer and asked if they would be interested in hosting the opening ceremony Thursday, September 28th, and they graciously accepted and are very excited. So I'll let Ann go ahead and talk about all that's going on. We have never hosted one at this church, and we're very, very much looking forward to it.
And before we get into it, what time is that going to actually start at the church?
Actually, the ceremony itself will start right at 7.
7 o'clock. 28.
And I understand that Jerry Tabbitt is very good at keeping things prompt and on time, so it's from 7 to 8.
Well, that is good. And I'm glad to hear Jerry's involved again. That's always good.
And then there will be a meet and greet of the Wounded Warriors following the service.
That is terrific. Now, how long have you been affiliated with Grace Presbyterian?
Shortly after my husband and I moved here, and it's 30 years ago.
30 years. Well, congratulations.
Thank
you for all you're doing in the community. And I understand your husband is a physician.
He is.
Doctor. And, of course, everybody knows I have a heart for the medical community. All of them. Doctors, nurses, especially nurses, though. So, anyway, please tell your husband thanks for what he does for everyone.
Thank you.
Yep, I've had wonderful service from all the medical people that have attended to my issues through the years, so I'm thankful.
We are really excited about hosting the Wounded Warrior Salute this year. A lot of people know Grace Presbyterian because of our ministries in the community with the Rescue Mission and Bethel Village Women, and our Grace Cares program, which supports the hungry and the needy in the community. And many people also know us we initiated and hosted the Scottish Festival for many years on our church grounds.
I did not know that.
And it was started to just emphasize the Scottish heritage of the Presbyterian Church. But anyway, so when Linda called this summer, we thought this would be just another wonderful ministry that we could have for our church and share that with the community. So we're really excited. The Presbyterian women have already come up with a menu to feed the warriors and their spouses. And we've got our audiovisual team going. We're going to have it decorated red, white, and blue. This is all
there's
going
a
to
good
be.
combo.
It's going to be patriotic plus, and our Presbyterian men are looking forward to ushering and greeting and helping with the parking issues. And anyway, we're just really excited to be able to host this.
Well,
event.
it certainly sounds like you've got a team in place that has their fingers and thumbs on everything to keep it coordinated and keep it moving along, and sounds like it's going to be a huge success.
Well,
I certainly hope so.
One of the things that we really want to emphasize is the music that we're going to be having it for the ceremony. And one of the great advantages of the Scottish Festival was the origination of the Panama City Pipes and Drums bagpipe group. So we're going to have bagpipes as well as just beautiful voices and piano, and also some of the Commodores, the singing Commodores from here are going to be joining us.
And they are wonderful. They are very good.
So we're excited. I think it's overall going to be a very worthwhile program to attend and support the wounded warriors and their
Right.
spouses.
Of course, and the main thing is everybody should know, or probably knows anyway, is ministering to the families and the caregivers, and it's just a wonderful show of love and support for those warriors, male and female, and caregivers, male and female, because there are stripes of both. Unfortunately, in every war, but in any event, I don't want to get emotional because I told myself I wasn't going to, so I'm not gonna. Now, what can you add to everything that's going on? I know the logistics and the planning, even when I plan something small, can get overwhelming. So I know you stay busy, and Linda is, and not derogatorily, she is irresistible because you can't resist her because she's like a bulldog, and I've been accused of being that myself. I get a hold of something, I'll clamp on that neck and not let go until it comes to fruition. So I know you've been busy, but how is all this one going this time?
Going great.
Good.
Going really good. And I also wanted to mention the opening ceremony is free and open to the public. So please come, and you might want to be there even at what, 6 or 6, well, probably around 6:30, maybe 6, to get a good seat. And the church can hold quite a few, about hundreds of people. The church will hold,
Right.
so that's not going to be a concern. So there's plenty of seating, and like Anna had mentioned, afterwards you're going to be able to personally shake the hands of these men and women that are coming from all across the country to be here. And we have about, I think, 36 or 38 attending this one. And then we have, our speaker is Dr. Jimmy Seitz. He's got a national television program, and he's going to be here with his wife, and their daughter now is coming.
Good.
And she works for Salt Life. She's going to do some filming, and so is he, and put this all on national television.
Oh, terrific.
Which will be great. Yeah, we found out his daughter was coming just the other day, and we're taking care of her ticket and his wife's ticket, and we're just glad to get them here because he has a heart for these men and women. He's not a veteran, but he's big into hunting, and he does it's the spiritual outdoor adventures. So check out his website for Dr. Jimmy Seitz. He had a church in California with 50,000 people and felt God was calling him to reach more. So he's done this. He's good friends with the Robinsons, with Tim Tebow, has them on his shows, and we're hoping having him here for him to get a feel of what our community does will open the door for him to reach out to people like that to also come to our community to speak and be here for these men and women.
That would be beneficial.
It would be. It would be.
Good.
Because so often it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And we know the King of Kings, who has a way of opening doors that we couldn't do for ourselves. And we're so grateful for Grace Presbyterian
true.
Church. It's nice to meet so many wonderful people that we wouldn't have met otherwise, the church hosting this. And having the bagpipes and the Scottish, oh, that's going to be so awesome.
Oh, I absolutely love it every time I get to hear them. Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be wonderful, wonderful. But it's coming together. Can't thank the community enough for all their help and support. And what is the hotel hosting us, Johnathan?
The New Hampton Inn on Front Beach Road, beachfront on that.
New Hampton Inn and Suites Beachfront
Yes.
is donating all the rooms for this upcoming retreat.
Terrific.
And I didn't even have to beg for that. I mean, I called. They hadn't even finished the building. And I called, and thankfully the manager is a veteran.
Oh, great.
And he was
Good.
all over it.
Good.
And they are excited about having us come, and we are so grateful that they're going to host these men and women. Everybody's going to have a beachfront room, and they're just really wanting to roll out the red carpet. And again, we can't do events like this without the support of the community,
Right. Okay.
without Grace Presbyterian stepping up, going, "We're going to host this. We want to do this." And I can only imagine the meal is going to be what type of meal have you all got down?
Good Southern cooking.
Yes.
Good. So that sounds like some chicken.
No.
Some holy
actually,
bird, no holy bird.
What's it going to be?
I think it's going to be ham as the major player.
Major
Wonderful.
ham. There you go.
With lots of vegetables and things like that. That'll be
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Sounds terrific.
That's great. Well, most of these men and women go straight from the battlefield to the hospital to home
Right.
and don't get a hero's welcome. And we have several couples that have moved to the area because of the response this community has given them. So this community needs to realize what they do here is not done all across the country. A lot of wonderful communities, but this community seems to get it, to know how to love and honor and heal these men and women, because lives are saved, marriages are saved, and it's just amazing to see what happens. You heard the testimony.
Right.
We had a couple that moved here, Tana and Mike Galena, that this literally saved their lives. Mike and Kurt, Tana and Kurt Galena. This literally saved their lives coming on the retreat.
And I believe I met them both, if I recall correctly.
Well, and they said where they were from, there was no support, and even the families don't always understand.
Oh yeah.
They go, just suck it up and get over it.
Yeah. Suck it up, Buttercup.
I
Yeah.
know. But so often with the PTSD, unless you really have an understanding that this stuff is real, you don't have a heart of compassion. You just don't. And Johnathan calls these men and women and talks to them. You want to share anything about what you do and about this upcoming retreat?
Yeah, what my position, when I'll be ministering and encouraging the guys and gals and just hanging out with them, fellowshipping, having a good time, and be able to be there for them and just share what their stories and see healing come from that, and be able to be themselves and have fun and to see their guys work in their marriages and able to feel like they're appreciated and that their sacrifice was not in vain,
Right.
because the freedom's not free because they risked their life, and fought for our country, which is so important, and which we can't forget that,
Of course not.
And then that's why I do what I do, and I counsel, encourage, or just whatever. Tell them God has a plan for them, God loves them, and they're not alone, and we're all in this together, and I'm here for you. Just have fun, enjoy life, and the time here, and just really getting to like a camaraderie, a bond that happens with the guys and the girls, and they talk about stuff, and it helps them, and seeing the change, and it's just amazing what God does and He is doing. So,
And what a lot of people don't realize and understand is, and not just you, but other people that are involved in veterans or veterans helping veterans and the community at large helping veterans. And I won't go into mentioning names, but you brought a need to my attention that I have pushed up into some of the veteran service organizations to try and help this in-need couple in the way that they need to be helped. And so thanks for alerting me to that. And now that I've pushed it up, hopefully we'll get some action on that and some help for those young people, because that's what we do. That's why all of us really exist, is to help the veteran, to help the spouse, the family. It's what we do. Notice I didn't bang the table,
you
but
did
my
good.
hands came out. So
did
I'm,
Johnathan. So
I'm
y'all
guilty,
did good.
But
Well, and I'll just put it out there. We have a Wounded Warrior couple, I won't say the name, that is in need of a home. They literally are homeless, living in a camper. And you can go to my website, warriorbeachretreat.org. My phone number's on there, but it's 850-625-0736. But they would appreciate help and support if anybody has any ideas out there of how to help them. But Bill Bird Kia is providing all the vehicles for the people flying in, and they will be flying into the airport the 25th of September and leaving October 2nd.
so
The retreat is September 25th to October 2nd. So they'll be here for a week.
So a week, that's terrific. That
And
is
we're
good.
grateful for Bill Bird Kia stepping up. And that's one of our major donors, so we'll mention them because they provide vehicles for the whole week. And we have so many other donors and sponsors that will be listed on our website for people to see that this is a community-wide effort.
Right.
That's why this can be done as it is done, because there's nothing in the nation that lasts this long and has this many men and women for 8 days and 7 nights, because it's very expensive. And we appreciate donations. We need them. warriorbeachretreat.org to help us to continue to do these, because we not only do the 2 major retreats, but we also have 3 smaller retreats scheduled, one in December and 2 in January, and possibly a fourth in February, all to strengthen their marriages. So our vision is growing. We plan to keep the 2 major events here and line the streets. I can't ask the community enough and thank them enough for the thousands that line the streets for the parade, because that brings healing like you can't imagine.
Absolutely.
In the front of the parade, we have veterans that ride. Ann is still getting some up for us. Usually have about 5 that have served prior to 9/11. And how is that going? You're still working on that?
I'm still going. I think we'll have it.
Great.
So anyway, it's a great honor for these veterans. But as you know, a lot of veterans are not necessarily wanting to put themselves out there.
Right. Yeah, and I understand that.
So
we've addressed that before, but yeah, because we'd rather be helping than be spotlighted.
right. But the veterans at our church will be hosting and sitting at a table for the dinner that we're going to have for these warriors. So they will be individually interacting with these wounded warriors and their spouses.
That's a good thing. With veterans, it's almost like you can't help but interact because it's like an immediate bond. It's been, oh, hello, brother, hello, sister, and it's just there. Can't explain it. I've never been able to explain it, and I don't know that anybody can, but there is an inherent internal camaraderie, like spirit bearing witness with the spirit.
That's
So
right.
that kind of thing. So
Well, you truly are a band of brothers, and that goes beyond blood. And we have seen it with these retreats. When you get that many men, that many women together, they literally heal each other. And we have a chaplain and his wife, David and Connie Trogdon, that will be there with us the whole week. And then, of course, Johnathan, who recently graduated from Bible College. And then we have Matt Standish from the Vet Center that will be available pretty much the week. And if people need to get additional counseling, even at the Vet Center, that will be available. So they have sources, but what's different from this, from so many, we don't have a bunch of scheduled stuff. We have them, they come in Monday, and we go to a delicious restaurant. And then Tuesday morning from 10 to 12, we do have a marriage meeting that David and Connie host for the couples, which is hilarious.
I was going to say, oh my goodness, David
Oh my
Trogdon?
goodness, he gets them rolling. He really knows how to break the ice with these men and
Yeah, he
women.
does.
He's got a terrific ministry with the Hope Project.
he and I have too much fun, and Matt Standish, of course, we
Oh,
pick
of
at each
course.
other
Oh, I know.
continually. But
But that brings the walls down for these men and women. So we're so thankful for that. And then we're touring the Navy Dive School again. We usually do that looking to do it on Friday. And then we do have a share time that Sunday morning for about 2 hours where they just bare their hearts. And we have seen men sit and shudder and cry that have been out of the war for years but never felt safe enough to share. And Johnathan has said this many times, the walls come down because you can tell if you're being used for political or financial gain.
oh, sure, yeah.
And they know they come in here with their guard up because that's not always the case. There's a lot of wonderful programs, but that's not always the case out there. And they get here and their guard is up. They're greeted especially at the airport, in a phenomenal way with the red carpet being rolled out and the military there to greet them in the community. And then they're testing the waters, and then they feel like this is a safe place. I can heal. And it's amazing what happens. As Christians, we see God's hand. We couldn't have orchestrated what happens on these events, these retreats. And it's just a beautiful sight to behold. They are not the same people that arrive, that go home. And I thank the community. This is not possible without this community getting behind this and helping them. And they have magnets that are made for their car with their names on them. Even the veterans that ride in the parade, those that have served prior, they have an American flag on their vehicle. And everywhere they drive, because we don't have a bunch of meetings, so they have pretty much every venue on the beach donates for them to go. So they can they have to show up for all the meals, and we are an alcohol-free retreat. But the rest of the time is free time. And they can just be together as a couple. They find people they can connect with. They go do stuff with them. And it's just so neat to see what happens.
Getting to the welcome, I want to mention, and we mentioned earlier, Carol and Daryl hurts. Patriot supporters extraordinaire. They do so much in the community for every event they're involved, and just wonderful people, love veterans. And I heard somebody saying, I don't recall who it was, and then I read it again, that veterans leave a war, but the war doesn't leave the veteran, ever. And when I read that, I thought, wow, that's a true statement in and of itself. We learn how to deal as best we can, and there's so much going on. You know, right now with the rate of suicide among veterans.
23 a day commit suicide.
I mean, it's just unacceptable. One is unacceptable. But progress is being made in that area locally that I'm aware of because of support and counseling. Matt Standish, a lot of people don't realize it, but out there at the vet center, nothing is reported to the VA. You go out there if you're having an issue and you don't want to call that Veterans Crisis Hotline, you can go right out there. And trained, credentialed counselors to help you. So I encourage, if you have an issue, regardless what it is, go out there. Yeah, it could be something affecting your marriage. It could be anger. It could be anything. Go. It's confidential, not reported to the VA, and you'll get help.
Even active duty can go.
Yes.
And
correct.
that's the big thing, because they don't give medication, so there's no paper trail.
Right.
And it's to me, the nation's best kept secret is the vet center.
I believe that he mentioned just the other day that not just the veterans, but their families
Yes.
can take
and
advantage of
That's
those
true.
services
That's
as
a
well.
good point. That's right. That's right. The families can go. The wives, the children.
Well, that's pretty much what David Trogdon does at Project Hope. It's open to all. I mean, the impetus, of course, is for veterans that are suffering PTS. I don't use the D, but that's another conversation. But he's up there and he's actually doing it, and he is credentialed as well. And so everybody is beginning to really work together to keep all these programs together. So nobody has to worry about, Linda's going to get more help over here, and David's going to get more help over here. No. It's balancing out. Same thing with the VSOs. Everybody's starting to support one another, and you don't have to worry about a piece of cheese being moved. Everybody will survive. Everybody will prosper and get through, and everybody will be doing what they should be doing, which is helping one another.
Well, I was talking to David. I said, I think we can really complement each other with what we do with our ministries.
Of course.
Because he has a heart. He and his wife worked as a chaplain couple on our last retreat. And he said, Linda, I don't have to stay there. I can just be, but he's like an hour away. I said, no, you have to be here. Because we had an incident come up, and I said, this is an emergency. And there was a couple that needed counseling right away, and David was right there on it. And even after the retreat, he's keeping up with these men and women, and really works. He works. He has he's dealing with PTS. I won't use the D himself, and he says that, so I don't think he'll mind me saying it, because he's been in combat.
Yeah.
And you relate to people that have been there, and he's a real blessing. We're actually going to do something. Our veterans are given the option with their caregivers to go to the Hope Project that Saturday of the retreat. He's going to feed them lunch. He's going to feed them lunch, and we're not going to offer. There was something else they were maybe going to do that day. We're not going to offer that option, because we're hoping to get as many that will go out there to enjoy that experience, and they'll be there from like 10 to 3, and just get a lot of healing. So it's a blessing to have David and the Hope Project partnering with us partnering with them, because it takes a nation to heal these men and women.
Of course.
It's not one group. It is not any one of us that is doing the job, because there's so many facets and so many needs out there that it's just, and nobody needs to give up. They need to keep helping these men and women, especially when you've got so many that are committing suicide a day. I know we're going up to the Bethesda Hospital around Memorial Day next year. Made arrangements. We're going to be up there having a table in the place where these wounded warriors are staying, and network with them the whole day. And so
Good deal.
we're going to go up there and look at the Pentagon. Commander Hung Kao is up there at the Pentagon, so we're going to go and try to network with some people in Washington to let them know about what our community does.
Sure.
And it's good to have a commander that's now up there in the Pentagon.
You know,
Yeah.
that being said, you just opened a wound with me because last week I read where they have appropriated money for 7 new hospitals in the state of Florida, VA hospitals, and guess where there will not be one? In the panhandle of Florida.
Oh my goodness.
Really?
This is where
So
many
we've got
are.
Biloxi, and you got what else? Jacksonville. We got a little joint care unit in Pensacola. But we're opening, and I understand there's a huge population of veterans in the state of Florida. But guess what? From Jacksonville to the western panhandle, there's also a tremendous number and no hospital.
Is there anything that we can do as a community to try to change
I don't
people's
know. Get a
minds?
hold of Marco Rubio. You know all the big shots up in D.C.
Well, they have helped with my son. It's been a blessing to have some phone numbers with Joshua.
But when I read that, I really was shocked. I'm thinking, oh, if they're cutting loose all this money to build new hospitals, there'll be one in the Panhandle. Not.
Well, sometimes you can try to sway the opinion of those that are making those decisions.
Yeah.
So we need to see what can
Maybe
be
somebody
done.
needs to talk to Dr. Dunn.
I think we can probably do that.
Well, there you go. Not that I would suggest something like that, but I think I just did.
It's a great idea. It's
And
a,
I-
well, you
I
know, it's
didn't
those
bang the
squeaky
table.
wheels. You didn't, me neither. But it's, you know, if people don't know the need,
Right.
they're not going to even think. And it's the constituents that say something that make a difference.
Sure.
That say, hey, let's do something. And the gentleman that you're saying, Neil Dunn,
Yeah.
that is a friend of yours that will probably,
He's a veteran.
As a veteran, we're not politically endorsing anybody, but as a veteran, he has an ear for the veterans. So he would be one to contact about, hey, come on.
Even
let's
if he
get
built
some
a
support
hospital
here.
in Tallahassee, that's only 90 miles.
I know, because that's hard for you guys.
Yeah.
Especially guys with PTSD. PTS. It's hard for them. Well, I want to tell you, my son Josh was denied caregiver coverage. He's got no legs. Twice at a hospital in Florida.
Yeah, see, well, that's kind of a
He
no-brainer
called-
in my opinion.
He
But
called, he said, Mom, do you know anybody that might can help us? Well, thank God I do have some phone numbers of some people that helped. He did get caregiver coverage, but at that hospital, people were let go because they did some investigating and people were just not
Goodness.
not even looking at what they were doing, stamping things. And I said, you know, thank God I was able to intervene for my son. But what about men and women that get turned down, that don't have somebody to step up and help them? So often, I think they're the ones that become the statistic
sure.
of going, I'm just not going to live anymore. Nobody cares. You know, we were down at a hospital in Orlando visiting about a week ago, networking there, and they're doing an excellent job, the Lake Nona Veterans Hospital. And we were down there meeting with people, talking with them, and it'd be great to have one up our way.
Well, there is I'm not going to name who this is, but he's very well known. There is a visiting dignitary going to be here to speak to veteran service organizations on a given date this month. I'm going to be out of town, but I was encouraged to write a few questions for this visiting dignitary, which I did. And hopefully they will get addressed. And they're not for me personally. It is the system. Why there are so many choke points, and the onus is always thrown back on the veteran to try and get resolution and to get treatment.
My son had to go to another veterans hospital to get approved for the caregiver program. And
That
was
shouldn't
just,
be.
unbelievable.
that shouldn't,
Shouldn't
be.
be.
That is unbelievable. And as a mom with a son that is severely wounded, with both legs gone above the knee from an IED blast almost 11 years ago, we have seen the journey, the ups, the downs, the challenges these families go through. And you know, sad to say, his first marriage didn't make it. And that was hard for us as a family. Beautiful,
Sure.
3 beautiful children, but he's married a beautiful woman, a Brazilian lady that we just cherish, loves and supports him. And she married him knowing he was like he was. he had no legs. His hands are mangled, and to me that's a beautiful thing.
Of course it is.
And I can't help but think, not that this was in Joshua's case, but I can't help but think that some of these men and women that are so severely injured, because they're just in the hundreds that are wounded, like our son that survived. Even though they have a lot of ways to save them, there's not many double above the knee amputees that are still with us. But I think sometimes in the back of their minds they think, is this spouse just staying with me because I was whole when they married me? And are they just staying with me because they feel obligated? Or do they really, really love me for who I am? And, that's just something that I have thought about at times. Because at Walter Reed, when I was up there with my son, I was told there were spouses that walked in and saw their men. Because I was up there 2.5 months. And it was mostly the men. The wives would walk in and take off their ring and put it down and say, I did not sign up for this. And leave that man mangled, burned, disfigured, to have to fight that battle by himself the rest of his life.
That's unconscionable.
Well, and that's why our hearts go out so much for the caregivers on these retreats. We have a spa day. They go in 2 stretch Hummer limos to the Hilton Sandestin Spa, and they give us a great discount, a good discount, but we still pay. It's our most expensive day. But it's a day where the women can connect with other women.
Sure.
And we leave at 7, we're back at 6. And so many of these ladies feel so isolated and alone. And they realize, I'm not the only one that wakes up with a husband that's choking me, or having night terrors, or that has anger issues,
mm-hmm.
or that's drinking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally get a support group. And the guys go deep sea fishing on the Jubilee, or they go golfing, and the guys can connect. But so often they don't feel safe to leave their spouse. These women are always like this. There's a lot of, and they feel like they're in a comfortable place, a safe place. They know their men are going to be taken care of. And they can finally have a day, sometimes the first day they've ever had, to just take care of themselves.
And I think that if I can put it in some kind of a little nutshell, the way my little pea brain works, but it's almost like they get here with the apprehension. The red flags are up. They're on alert. Then they're kind of put at ease when they start meeting other veterans, and they'll get to a point, and I just say it's like you just go, you just exhale, okay? And then that's when the healing begins.
That's right.
And that's the process. And of course, it's unfortunate. And a lot of times, you mentioned it could be drinking, it could be anger. And sometimes it's a combination of several issues they're dealing with. And we could stay here and do this all day, but guess what? We have run out of time. And Miss Ann Dent, I apologize. I feel like I haven't given you enough time to speak about what's going on at Grace Presbyterian. But I do want to mention that, unfortunately, your young pastor had to go into the hospital. So he stands in need of prayer about whatever's going on with him. And I'm not a doctor, and the HIPAA GRIPA laws, I can't do any of that, so I'm not going there. But I certainly wish him and pray that he has a speedy recovery and is back on task. And
and prayer for all the wounded warriors.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a daily.
Pray for them constantly.
Yep.
And for their healing.
As we all do. We pray for our troops wherever they're serving. In battle, not in battle, they all need it. So.
And really be praying for those that are coming on the retreat.
Oh, yeah.
So for their lives to be touched and healed and changed.
Yeah.
And again, thanks for the community. Line the streets. Please be there for the opening ceremony. And we can't express our gratitude for Grace Presbyterian Church and Elder Ann Dent for hosting this event.
And they're coming in on the
25th of October, leaving October 2nd.
And this event is the 28th.
Thursday, the 28th, 7 p.m. at Grace Presbyterian Church.
September.
September.
Right.
Yeah, September 28th, Grace Presbyterian Church. The website, the parade is on our website, warriorbeachretreat.org.
So the route is on there?
The route is on there, yes.
Law enforcement escorted?
Retreat. Thankfully for all the law enforcement on the beach and in town that
Absolutely.
do the escorts, and then the motorcycle riders by the hundreds.
But the Leos have always done a wonderful job. We're going to have any helicopters. But same,
Yes,
yeah.
we'll have some helicopters from the sheriff's office flying overhead.
Well, unfortunately, if I'm breathing this time, I'll be in Mississippi. And so,
You keep missing me.
I know. Well, you know the deal.
I know you got to get your wife
I
used
got
to
that
retirement.
retired lady I've got to take care of now. So, but in any event, thank you again. It's always a pleasure and a privilege. And Miss Ann Dent, it was a pleasure
It's my
meeting
pleasure.
you. And God bless you all. Till next time, Military Hour. See ya.